Hooray for Hollywood! Hello there, Stan the Movie Man with your WIMZ.com movie review. This week at WIMZ.com, you overwhelmingly sent me to see Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock and George Clooney. Also, the voices of a couple of other actors. About the only one you would recognize is Ed Harris as the voice of Mission Control. The only two actors' faces you see on screen, at least when they're not dead, are Bullock and Clooney. It's the story of a couple of astronauts, Dr. Ryan Stone, who is Sandra Bullock, and Mark Kowalski on his last mission in space, played by George Clooney. Kowalski is checking out a kind of jetpack that would allow astronauts to not be tethered to the spacecraft while they're doing a spacewalk. Kowalski, or Stone, is attached to the robotic arm, and she is conducting repairs on the Hubble Space Telescope. They get a message from Mission Control saying the Russians have fired a missile at one of their satellites, and the satellite has broken into a bunch of pieces. Now, initially, it's no big deal. It isn't in their orbit, so everything is fine. Unfortunately, it starts a cascade effect where the pieces run into other satellites, which run into other satellites, which run into other satellites, and pretty much anything in Earth orbit at or around the level of the space station or the shuttle is in danger of being hit by debris. When the shuttle is hit by debris, the only two survivors left are Stone and Kowalski. They have a few options, none of them very good, and Stone, because this is her first space flight and she only had about 6 months of training prior to launch, she is extraordinarily tense and nervous, of course, as anyone would be in this situation. And she's using up her oxygen far too fast. And plus, the shuttle is destroyed and unusable as a re-entry craft. Things are bad, although they have a couple of options. I knew a little bit about the movie coming in. I knew it had received some rave reviews at various festivals and from critics as it was about to come out. I'm glad, though, I went into it with not a whole lot of knowledge, because this movie is spectacular. It is the kind of film that will be the benchmark for other adventure-type movies of this nature. The fact that it is somewhat plausible that something as weird as a satellite collision could create this chain reaction of disaster is just it. Look, at the end of the movie, I was exhausted, both emotionally and physically, because as Stone and Kowalski meet these various challenges and are presented with things that could kill them in an instant, my whole body would just tense up. I saw it 3D IMAX. I would suggest the 3D. If you have an IMAX nearby, that's great, although you may be a little deaf when you leave the theater. I don't want to say too much about the movie because I don't want to spoil it, but it is spectacular. I loved it, and I think you will too. 5 Guitars. Go to WIMZ.com to read my complete review, as well as to vote on the movie that I'll see next time. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to send them to me at StanTheMovieMan@att.net, and you can follow me on Twitter at MovieManStan. Till next time, bye-bye.